Good luck, boys.
Sports, when you've got a great ball club. Sports, when you're leaving it all on the field. Sports, when you like your team's chances. Sports, to survive and advance in sports. For the teams you love and the teams you love to hate. Oh, it's Sports Channel 8. Yeah. Sports Channel 8. Hey! Hey! Hey!
Sports Channel 8, the streaming show, all up in your earwaves on a Friday morning. Ben Sway and Brian Geisker, Josh Goodson in the house. The Weather Moose may stop by, or he may be hiding out, because on a day when you should be able to play golf in February, he's making it rain. That's only at Swain's Club, I hear. That's no good. We are brought to you by Movement Mortgage. You see the double M over there over Josh Goodson's hand on his hat and probably on his shirt, too. He's branded up everywhere. Hit up Josh Goodson for all your mortgage needs. He's got the best rates. He makes it easy. He's saving you money. Literally, he's just trying to give you money. Also, make sure you always follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. And you can check out the podcast after the show ends, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, all those places. We are there. Well, like I said, we'll see if the Weather Moose drops in, but we'll talk a little Duke-UNC today. Talk a lot of Winter Olympics. I got to break down my favorites in the different categories for luge and skating. I've got all the heavy info for you. But now, let's go around and everybody can introduce themselves. Let's start to my left. Winter Olympics hater, Ben Swain. What's going on, dude?
It's going, man. Hey, Goodson, do you guys? I love the logo. Do you ever do like hand signs, like? Man. You guys walking around the office doing that?
We should.
Let's do that again now. You definitely need an MM, baby. I hope nobody just tuned in and saw that. Down in the bottom right, and we are hoping that China has no effect on our internet, because otherwise we're about to be punted off. But it is Peng Shui searcher Josh Goodson. What's going on, man?
If I'm not here Monday, you'll know what happened.
Is she going to make an appearance at the Olympics?
I did just see a story that she's going to meet with the head of the IOC. It's such it is a very like weird, sad type of story type deal, and we can understand that, like, even though the Olympics are more they're meant to bring good and fun, that there's still bad people like basically everywhere and such, and sketchy people, and it's okay to bring that awareness up.
I did not see Josh Goodson bringing the
woke.
The political wokeness to the table today. I do think. I mean, we're not going in on the whole Peng Shui thing, but I did think it was funny how
we can. I got Ukraine, Russia thoughts after. Well,
I think they found like the one IOC person that was definitely paid off, and they're like, "All right, we'll let her look." He got a one-on-one with her. He said it's fine. Like, it's like, okay, could you talk to somebody else? It's like, no. She's just talking to that one guy, and it was like, sketch. She can't talk to the head of the tennis association, just the International Olympic Committee. Before we continue, more corrupt. What's the most corrupt sports organization in all the world? Swain, I'll need your. Is it FIFA or is it the Olympic Committee? It's one of those, right?
I mean, NFL's making a run for the money right now, too.
Dude,
the ACC?
They're not global enough.
The ACC under John Swofford was high on the.
I don't know, man. Ask Louisville, and it's Jim the bad guy. I do want to throw this out because I wasn't going to bring this up, but since Perm took us there, FIFA. And I've never heard this. This is why I'm throwing this out. FIFA launched a campaign today to provide assistance to like underdeveloped confederations to grow their talent. Right? They're calling it the talent. It's the FIFA TDS, which is Talent Development Scheme.
They're calling
it scheme in a positive light, and the only thing I can think of is they saw how many people Googled like FIFA scheme, and they're like, let's put something positive on this for SEO. So maybe the next thing is like a scandal, right? Like let's call something really good a scandal to grow talent in underdeveloped confederations. Let's call it a scandal.
They're gonna work with Shonda Rhimes to have a new season of the TV show Scandal, but have it be centered around like a white collar like FIFA employee.
Also, Swain, is the U.S. going to get some of those funds to develop their talent since we suck at soccer? Like, should we be first in line?
Beat Honduras 3-0, man. What are you talking about? Everything's fixed.
And finally, he's already chimed in a little bit, but let's meet him. Icing the ball screen, is that a clever just basketball term, or is that relative to something that happened last night that I missed, Brian Geitzer? Or is that a Duke-UNC foreshadowing?
All of the above. It is a basketball tactic, one that UNC used with a great deal of success against NC State. And I'm guessing they'll try to do the same thing against Duke, probably with less ease would be my guess.
All right, well, let's start right there. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Duke and UNC.
Is that when they make every three-pointer? Is that what?
Yeah, that yes, shooting 65% on threes. That helps too.
I'm just saying, I never heard Gary Hahn complaining about UNC icing the ball screen.
Well, I'm guessing Gary Hahn doesn't know what that is. Also,
Probably not.
He'd have to learn that. That was not on the test to become a
Randolph Childress mentioned it a lot during the broadcast. Actually,
Childress has grown into one of my favorite analysts.
Yeah,
I hate to say that. Like
he's good.
He needs to infuse a little more like personality. He needs to pep it up a little bit, but his stuff is great.
He's also got the I really like Childress a lot. He occasionally rails against analytics a little bit, but other than that, really like him on the broadcast. He also has the this was like the benefit of like Romo to an extent of like he just got done coaching in the ACC. You know what I mean? So it's like he can look at a lot of these rosters and be like, oh, when we did the scouting report for Virginia Tech, here was what we tried to take away from this guy, this guy, and this guy. And I don't know. For me, I really like that information during a broadcast.
All right, tomorrow.
It never worked that week.
It didn't. No, it didn't. It didn't. The ideas are good, but you gotta, in practice, it's more difficult.
It's like when we played Marvin Bagley, we just wanted to get him on his left hand. We had to force Marvin Bagley left.
Moose carrying the Swain tradition of not being on the show, but apparently free to comment. So there he is. And I don't know, will we have icing balls? I don't know. We need a weather person here to tell us what it's going to be like this weekend. Question on Duke Carolina round one. Is it always Duke-UNC or can you say UNC-Duke? I feel like when State Carolina play, it doesn't matter who it is. It's the State Carolina game, right? You don't say it's the Carolina State game. It's always the State Carolina game. Is it always Duke-UNC or do we actually call it UNC?
That's definitely how I hear it in my head is Duke-UNC. In fact, I'm writing a preview story that will involve talking about UNC's ice ball screen coverage. And yeah, like within the first paragraph, I was like, I wrote Duke-UNC and thought, can you do the inverse of this actually? But doesn't it depend? Can it also depend on like where the game is taking place?
That's what I've always seen is that the home team goes first. But I feel like I also saw that from like a nerd, You
mean an editor?
I think you go second, right?
That's not the way I've seen it, but how I always do it is, and I never say UNC, it's always Duke Carolina. You go single syllable first, multiple syllable second.
That fits with State Carolina too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, and then Josh Goodson, did you want to ask the question that you threw out on Twitter, and we'll see if we get some response? Hashtag always delivers.
Yeah, just curious, what always delivers in life? Like that's all we hear with Duke, and it is funny. Duke-UNC actually does. How often do you think it delivers?
Most of the time, not all the time. Most of the time, though.
I want Jay Bill to say Duke-UNC 80% of the time it delivers, and that's a pretty good percentage. Like, Louisville, Kentucky would kill for 80%, right? And by delivers means like not just like a good game, like a really, really good game. I feel like the epitome of it was the missed free throws. Was that Tyus or Trey? I get my joke.
Right.
It was Trey and Wendell Moore. It's hard to believe.
Wasn't that after the Zion year?
Yeah, it was the year after.
So it felt like that was like, all right, we said Duke-UNC delivers because last year it was this, this star-studded. So it felt like
Zion and Kobe White in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, Cam Johnson, Nasir Little. They played 3 times that year, including the semifinals of the ACC tournament, which is like one of the best games I've ever gone to. And yeah, that game had Cam Reddish, RJ Barrett, Zion Williamson, Cam Johnson, Nasir Little, and Kobe White. That was 7 guys that would get drafted, or 6 guys or whatever that would get drafted in the first round, like 3 months later.
And so it felt like the next year we were saying Duke-UNC always delivers, but it's like we're just saying it now, guys. Like it's not gonna be like last year with
Alex O'Connell and
Of course, the best guy in that 2019 matchup was obviously Luke May, everyone's favorite basketball player at North Carolina. He was obviously the best player in that game.
Now that we're naming all these guys and we're seeing Cam Johnson and Nas Little and Kobe White actually be NBA stars, I'm like, wait a minute, did we let Roy off the hook for like they should have been much better that whole season?
They were a 1 seed that year.
Okay, all right, maybe not.
Yeah.
Well, then they flopped in the tournament. Then
They lost to national champion Auburn, or the team that should have won the national championship.
We beat Auburn.
Only recognize them as
we beat Auburn that year, BG.
That's right.
Goodson, I hear you're going to the Duke. No,
I am.
I'm saying this. I'm going to. I'm saying this for total show purpose. I hear you're going to the whatever. We're going to Duke-UNC. You're abandoning State Notre Dame. Are you conflicted about this?
No, not at all. Part of it is the wife, in true East Carolina grad fashion, claims to be a UNC basketball fan too. So I can kind of, do something nice for her. But going back to the always delivers point, I mean, we collectively have been lucky to go to a lot of cool sporting events, in doing this. And I've been to the Masters before, stuff like that. But because Duke-UNC generally always delivers, it's pretty cool to go every year. And you're taking the chance that you're probably going to get a cool game or something cool is going to happen in the actual game. Like the lead up's cool, the crowd's going to be fine, but the actual game usually has something crazy that happens. And as a sports fan, it's still cool to see stuff like that.
I can tell you the Masters does not always deliver. Thanks for nothing, Trevor Immelman. All right, do we want to?
That's right. You went to the Trevor Immelman Masters.
Wire to wire, Trevor Immelman. Every time I got talks on a golf broadcast, I want to throw my remote at him. It just ruined the week for me. Do we want to get into Giftgate? Is this a big deal? UNC is not giving Coach K a gift or some type of honoring. Is this a big deal?
Do you really think they're not going to do anything at all?
That was my thought. Is it really going to be nothing? Not a tribute on the board? Nothing. I feel like there's going to be something, but also.
No. Here's the thing.
All right.
Here's the thing. 70% of the people in the Dean Dome that will be there on Saturday are not there to cheer for North Carolina. They're there to cheer against Duke, and that is the reality of what the UNC fan base has become over the last 10, 12 years. So it would be a bad idea for UNC to do anything to recognize Coach K, because they would alienate that large chunk of UNC fans that, again, they're there to see Duke lose. They're not there to see UNC win.
I think that's an interesting point, because it's like, if you remember the late great NBA commissioner David Stern, what was the tradition with him at the draft every year, right? He would get booed, but Stern would lean into it, and people would be like, yes, boo me. And it became that was part of the relationship between David Stern and I guess New York Knicks fans or whatever. So I don't know, that the gift may be just the venom or the vitriol coming from the crowd. You know what I mean? That serves almost as an unrecognized gift too, I feel.
So it'd be honoring K to boo him as loud as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the crowd going to be tomorrow, Hayes? I know last week you said last Saturday, because of the game time of the State UNC game, that you coined it the most season ticket holders.
Yeah.
We're going to be there. Is it similar is tomorrow the same, or
Yeah, you got to use your Duke-UNC tickets, I guess. But I can still see some season tickets holders who are like, if we're only going to one game, let's go to one that we're definitely going to win. It's a rivalry, and we knew Roy was getting honored at the state game. And what else did we say? It wasn't Martin Luther King weekend. Our kids' private school winter break hasn't started yet. Like, this is the perfect one. But Duke-UNC, I mean, yeah, it's obviously going to be full because every ticket's going to get snapped up that's out there. Speaking of which, I won't deep dive into this, but we need to create a secondary ticket market with negotiation. And I thought of this. You responded because you were like, "Oh, you're trying to go see Duke-UNC, aren't you?" No, but I did think about it. It was UNC, maybe Boston College game or something. And I guarantee you, and this is probably true with Duke fans too. I don't know as much State fans. A rich Duke or UNC alum who's like, "I'm not going to all these like weekday games. This is dumb." But I'm not selling my ticket for less than $150. They put it on there at $150, because they're like, I mean, I don't need the money, so I'm not taking $50 for it. But if you went to that same guy and he had it listed for $150, and you said, what about $125? And he could still save face and be like, all right, yeah, I mean, I got something for it, right? Or just in general, like at Walnut Creek, when like there's a big show and there's 100 lawn tickets, so they all set them basically the same price because everybody knows, like, well, I'm not going to be able to go higher. They're just going to buy. Like, if 50 people have a $100 lawn ticket for sale, could you go to one of them and be like, hey, for $80, you want to come off that tick? And they'd be like, you know what? It's worth it to get my ticket sold and not be, racing with the rest of these people. So anyway, that's another.
Having been to some ACC tournaments with you, especially in Greensboro, but some other cities too, I'm not surprised that this is an idea that you would be into. I also saw this week. So the Indiana Pacers in the NBA, they're very bad and they're a very boring team too. And I saw the online secondary ticket markets were selling the other night this week. We're selling Pacers tickets for $1. And so I love the inverse of this would be if you had this sort of online negotiation site. It would be people just trying to find people they could pay money, like a TaskRabbit site to find people to take their Pacers, Indiana Pacers season ticket holders being like, I will pay you $40 if you go to this game, in my name, actually.
Yeah, 100%. Always makes me think of my favorite ticket negotiation. I was going to a Duke-UNC football game not a few years ago, in 2000 or something. I mean, just bad teams, 3 guys, and a dude is walking to us, and he's got some. He's not even like a ticket sales guy. He's like a student, and he's like, hey, he's like, do you guys need some tickets? I was like, yeah. I was like, guys, don't say anything. I'll handle this. I was like, I'll give you $20 for all 3 of those. And he goes, well, they were $5 each. And I was like, I'll still give you $20 for all 3 of them. I thought for sure they were $10 each, and I was getting $20.
He's that guy.
It's just total moron. All right, I'm going to list some things since Josh Goodson asked the question. Things that always deliver. You can add to the list in the comments. We've got Karl Malone.
No, redacted.
And a midwife. I guess technically delivers. Yeah. Isn't a doula? Isn't that what? Does a doula deliver babies too?
Sure.
Our good friend B-Dot is clever on that one. Josh Graham says the sugar cake at Dewey's Bakery. That is true. It does always deliver.
Pandering Josh Graham. Oh, look, Winston-Salem crowd. Look. Like Dewey's. Look at me.
Christmas Dewey's Bakery.
Yeah.
Winston-Salem guy.
Man, I don't know what it is about Texas Pete, but I just can't eat my eggs without it. I wash it all down with a tall, cool Pepsi.
Shout out our boy Josh Graham. Thanksgiving leftovers, he also mentioned, always deliver.
Solid.
Gin and tonic, always deliver.
I do like a gin and tonic. That's a go-to. That's like if I'm at a bar and and I walk up and I just blank on what I want, and I don't want to sound like an idiot, I'll just be like gin and tonic. It's easy enough. I like drinking them. Anything with lime in it is good. So yeah, respect.
High life after work, I respect that. I bet that always delivers. High life after yard work, I feel like maybe it delivers even more.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you got comments of things that always deliver, hit us up in the comments.
While in the same note, I would say either a Modelo or a Tecate with lime always delivers too. That's a favorite drink combination. I'm also, for some reason, I'm thinking a lot about breakfast food right now. Okay. So I would shout out Bolted Bread in downtown Raleigh, always delivers. Mo Nuts in Durham always delivers, and I saw they've got new donut flavors. Very exciting. Next time I'm in Durham, doing that. Yellow Dog in Raleigh always delivers. And I feel like I want to shout out Person Street Bar too for some reason. That's where I would go to get a Tecate in line for.
Dude,
I will say, I will add, and this is totally, organic here. I would add that the experience of refinancing Movement Mortgage. I've recently been through that, and it was one of the easiest experiences that I've ever been through, and everybody was great every step of the way. So
skipping a mortgage payment always delivers. Being able to skip a mortgage payment always delivers.
Outdoor showers for me always deliver.
Can I refi again this month so I don't have to pay mortgage next month?
Good.
Anything else y'all want to talk about? Duke-UNC? BG, you want to give us any analysis?
Who's gonna win?
Who cares?
I go to Geisinger.
What does Ken Palm have it at, BG?
What
does Ken Palm have it at?
2 or 3 points, and so does Bart Torvik has it at 2 or 3 points too. So it's projected to be close. I don't know. My only thoughts on it will be I'll be curious to see how like Hubert decides to deploy Leaky Black defensively, right? Like who does he take Wendell Moore? Does he take AJ Griffin?
Both. He can guard both at the same time.
Does he try to go small at certain points and put Leaky Black on Paolo Banchero? That seems like a not great idea, but something he could try. And then, how well is UNC's how well does their pick and roll defense do? UNC in 6 games this season has allowed better than 1.20 points per possession, and they're 1-5 in those games. So, UNC is a good offensive team. They're not a very good defense. When they do defend, they generally have a pretty good chance of winning, but they're also going against – this will be – probably the best offense they've seen so far this season. So
hey, State scored 80 against them. I mean, that's pretty strong. I mean,
that game was. I finally watched that game yesterday.
Why?
I wanted to get pick and roll. Honestly, it's because I wanted to get a bunch of clips of UNC icing ball screens. So I literally spent hours watching that game so I could just clip pick and roll coverages for UNC from it. Terquavion Smith was awesome though. Also, I feel like because there's probably a couple, although one of them's not on the call right now, there are some Jericho Helms skeptics in the Sports Channel 8 crowd. He's having a nice little season, and he played well in that game too.
I do think there's too much hate for Jericho Helms. Swain?
Everything BG just said is fine, but we know the game will come down to how much UNC wants to win. They are not focused. If they don't put in the effort, they're not going to win. And if they lose, it will be because of that.
No,
so that is the only. How many efforts per possession UNC gets on Saturday will determine the outcome.
They need strong heart above replacement. Need that.
I expect to see Joey Savarino in the starting lineup. And literally, he's gonna jump tip with Baycott, but he's not gonna jump. He's just gonna jump onto Armando's arm right there at the tip, and then just hold on to it. He'll take 3 fouls if he can get one on Armando. He's gonna be in there to start, and he's gonna be trying to pick up fouls.
Well, what's funny is, by the way, yesterday I was going through AP photos from Duke-UNC game last year. And there's one, it's just an amazing coincidence. I know this stuff happens all the time when big guys are battling the post, but it's a shot of Armando Baycott and Matthew Hurt. And Baycott is just whacking Matthew Hurt in the face, too. Just absolutely clipping him in the face.
Hurt's pulling his arm.
He's got high hands when he's going for rebounds. That's all I'm saying. Very high hands.
Grayson Baycott, Armando Allen.
If UNC is going to win, here's my – tell me if I'm spot on this analysis, BG. They've been shooting around 40% from 3. Now, you can't count on shooting 40%. I mean, they may drop down to 38 or 35. But if UNC gets up 100 threes and makes between 35 and 40, that percentage-wise, they can't – I mean, that's the key, right?
Don't tell Caleb Love this. He would happily oblige this strategy of shooting as many times as his heart desires.
I'll take his step-back threes over his wild, erratic drives to the basket thrown up at all angles. Yes, he makes some of the step-backs.
I feel like I do want to throw this out here. Like I'm gonna probably write about this next week. We'll see how he plays against Duke, I guess. But I feel like RJ Davis is having he's kind of flying under the radar a little bit. He's having like a really nice sophomore season. Like Love and Baycott are getting all of the headlines for UNC, I feel like, but Davis has been really good. Really good.
I mean, it's typical for a UNC guy having a great season not to be talked about. Everybody's overlooking him.
Right, yeah.
Typical.
I did see the News and Observer dropped just a million links of Duke-UNC coverage today. I'm sure State fans love that. But there's one that I really hope Wake Twitter catches a whiff of, because I think Wiseman wrote the column. It was about ACC Player of the Year, like Baycott or Banchero. And I would just love for Alanis Williams stands to see that tweet and get really, really angry. And then it works for everybody, because then the story gets engagement and stuff like that too. So I'm hoping that happens.
Elsewhere in the sports world, the Winter Olympics technically have already started. I think there may be a ceremony going on. Do we have to watch these things? I ask you guys.
I'm
the ceremonies or the Olympics?
I'm not.
Any of it, the Winter Olympics.
I'm not.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Swain.
If nothing else is on, I might throw it on. But I surely don't care. The summer games, you try to avoid spoilers, right? Like if you can't watch during the day, or you're on whatever streaming service to see what's happening live. I'm definitely not doing any of that. And we oversell how much we love Olympic sports, right? Look, nobody cares about figure skating. Nobody cares about figure skating. And all you see on Twitter right now is how amazing so-and-so is for being able to do. It's okay to say this is a fringe sport that is athletically really impressive, but nobody cares about it. It's okay to say that, right? I'll say that about college basketball. People don't care about college basketball until March Madness rolls around, except for us. That's fine. But don't oversell how good it is, because that is probably the most annoying thing about the Olympics is overselling how much we care and love these athletes. And you don't care.
I don't care. My issue is there's two things. A, I don't know what we're good at. So I don't know what is as a Team USA fan, I should be dialed in to like when in swimming, you're like, oh, we got Michael Phelps. We know we're going to win, and we're going to have some pride, from watching him win. So I don't know what we're good at anymore. Number two, we don't have anybody with cool names. We watched the speed skating thing because of Apollo Antonoto.
Yeah.
And we watched we knew about the snowboarding because of the dude with the orange hair.
Yeah.
Sean.
It's just the dude with the orange hair.
We don't. Do we have? I don't think we have anybody. Why did we watch Peekaboo Street? We used to have some all-time Winter Olympian, Bodie Miller.
All right. If to your point, if you, and I'm only saying this now because I guess there's another Jackass coming out, so now they're rerunning all the movies and all the clips are going on, and I've seen them all and can't turn away from them whenever they come on. I'm like, if you gave the Jackass gang free reign over all the stuff that's set out for the Winter Olympics to compete, that would be an incredibly more entertaining product than the actual Winter Olympic competitions. The other thing is, and I know.
Wait, just real quickly, Shaun White, I think, is competing in the Winter Olympics.
He's still there.
Yeah, he's still there. No, this is the last one. It is.
There are two things. And this is true for Summer Olympics too. I don't like to fight about what is or what isn't a sport, but the more the champion is decided by judges versus the speed skating, it's you got to beat the other guy, right?
Yeah.
But it feels like in the Winter Olympics, there's more. Even like you said, things that are incredibly cool. The half pipe snowboard or whatever. Ultimately, it comes down to judging, and it's that's when you could see.
You can watch snowboarding and somebody do something, and you're like, I don't know why that's a 10 versus what the other guy just did, because to me, they're all hard. And
then same thing, even the ones where it's time trials, when you can't see them doing it next to each other, in track, as boring as track can be, when a dude is down by 100 meters and he passes everyone at the end and he finishes, you're like, oh my gosh. if somebody makes up 6 seconds in the last 100 meters of their downhill run, you don't see them pass anybody.
They need to do like Mario Kart, the Mario Kart.
The ghost
if you did like time trials, or if you ever did that in Mario Kart, they would have like a ghost.
Yeah.
That you could. It's like a hologram where you're like trying to. They should do that. They should do holograms for everybody so you could see what they're doing going down the slope.
Would you like, to your point? Would you watch luge and bobsled if there were like 6 luges and 6 bobsleds on the same track racing against each other?
Yes.
100%. 100%. Like there's no drama to it, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that gets me is like the shooting events, like where you cross country ski and then you got to shoot something. Yeah. What is that?
Random juxtaposition of sports. Yes.
We do. I will say that we do care about Olympic hockey because Eric Stahl is captain of Team Canada. We'll always support him. And then the women's tournament it's their best players, and so that'll be fun to watch. It's going to be USA Canada. It's always USA Canada. They might as well play 12 times at the Olympics and just make that interesting. But those are the team events. I'm down with that, but yeah, nothing else.
And the other thing, and I won't claim this to be my soapbox. It's other people's more than mine. But like every Winter Olympic event is like Summer Olympics for sailing. Where like there's only certain people that compete in these things. If you go look and see where the people competing for America, they all are from Aspen because either their parents were rich enough to move them there when they were 12.
Yes.
And you get the sense of like,
yes.
Are you the best skier? Or are you just the one that could afford to live in Aspen the longest? And
there's a very large like barrier to entry for a lot of these.
Yeah.
A lot of the winter sports.
As opposed to in track, I truly believe we got the fastest guys and girls that can run the 100-meter in America, unless they smoked weed or something, then we kick them out.
And the other thing it's telling to me, and it's sort of like in like country music, right? Like whenever there's a crossover with like a rapper that's on a country song, right? Or like a country song sounds like it's got like a hip hop beat to it or whatever, and people freak out about it because this means our thing is cool. The bobsled, when they've got the ex-football player or the ex-track athlete, and they make a huge deal about, look, we got a football player. We got this dude used to run track and he's now doing our thing, and that makes us cool. It does not make you cool. It makes you even more lame than you were to begin with.
Brian Geisinger, I know you're gonna have to get out of here in just a little bit, so I want to run this topic by you before you go. What the hell is a Darius Garland? And how is he on an all-star team with LaMelo Ball, like the most exciting player in the NBA? LaMelo Ball is doing between the legs in alley-oop throws, crazy passes. He has good numbers. The team is fun. Why is LaMelo Ball not at all? I hate doing all-star snubs, but like we actually have a super cool person, and something like Darius Garland is called an all-star. This is crap.
So real quickly, Darius Garland is awesome and is like deserving of an all-star.
Nope.
And if you follow enough recruiting, he played at Vanderbilt under Jerry Stackhouse for one season, but actually like Duke was in on Darius Garland for a period of time. I think they took
he should have gone to Duke, and then maybe he could be an all-star. But
I think Trey Jones was the point guard they took in that recruiting class instead. So it worked out for everybody.
Is Darius Garland the same as Darius Miles?
He's not. But the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Also, this was the best celebration in the history.
It was amazing. The guy that probably, if you were to take one person off the Eastern Conference roster, would probably be Chris Middleton from the Bucks, who like is definitely a great player, but has not been like amazing this season. And but I think the hope should be for a team like Charlotte that is fighting to get a good seed for the playoffs or for the play-in tournament, that this would fire LaMelo up, right? And you would say, hey, all right, no one think if you're James Borrego, you say, hey man, they don't think you're good enough. And for the next 2 months, you use this for fuel. But Darius Garland is legit. He's awesome. The Cavs are really good. They play the Hornets tonight, by the way. And you can even make the case that Jared Allen from the Cavs should have been an all-star as well. Like he and LaMelo are probably like the two like snubs or most obvious, the next two candidates in the East or whatever. But it stinks for LaMelo, but I'm certain that next season he'll make his first, and then he'll make the next 12 after that.
Well, I wanted to start tonight. I want him to embarrass Darius Garland tonight. I wanted to dunk on him, maybe tabletop him, shank him, everything. I just want him to embarrass this dude. And sorry, we were not laughing at you, Swain and I. I believe Swain was laughing at the same thing I was, which was as soon as the discussion turned to NBA, Josh Goodson could not explain how left she was. And literally, because he's wearing a white shirt and has a white background, he just disappeared. He just backed up and was he did the Homer Simpson into the hedge,
it was like Field of Dreams going into the movement logo.
He was like, I'm out, guys. I thought at least Josh Goodson would feel me on Darius Garland can't be an all-star just because we don't know who Darius Garland is. Brian Geisker, of course, is giving me actual.
I was going to say Jerry Stackhouse versus Duke recruiting battles always deliver, evidently.
Yeah. And I don't have a whole lot more on my topic list. And
State Notre Dame, come on.
You're not even going to it. We're not talking about that. You're a season ticket holder, and you're going to another team in town. That means it's not a worthy topic. We're not talking that. But before we do let you go, Brian Geisinger, I wanted to get a weekend prediction from you.
Weekend prediction. Let's start with tonight. How about I predict the Hornets win in a LaMelo triple-double.
There we go.
He sticks it to the media and the rest of the NBA landscape by dominating Darius Garland in a Friday night matchup.
Let's go ahead and throw Darius Garland going 1 for 12 in there tonight too. With turnovers.
Look, he's not Caleb Love, man. All right, so I wouldn't bank on that.
Anything else you guys wanted to discuss? I've got some rightly rated topics, but we could also BG's out. Also, by the way, I don't know if I have to. I should have brought this on with BG still on here, but the BG saga of paperwork for ESPN continues. I had to go sign something as a witness because he's not at ESPN. So I go and fill out this form. For those who are not familiar with the show, Brian Geisinger, wonderful dude, sometimes can get flustered or overwhelmed. And so he gets this stack of paperwork after doing the Duke-Syracuse game. And he's going through, trying to make sure everything's right. I go over to his house and fill out as the representatives, I saw you, do this stuff or whatever. And he sent it in, and the form that we used expired 3 days ago or something. So now he's got to go back and do it again. So he's still wrapping up that paperwork, and he's coming by my house today to sign it. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to hit on before we wrap it up? Or I got some rightly rated topics. You want to hit that?
The Jaguars hiring Doug Peterson over Byron Leftwich.
At some point when it's relevant, we will talk about what's going on in the NFL. We try not to just talk about things because everybody's talking about them. We try to have intelligent takes or talk about things that are interesting to us like Duke-UNC. But I will say, I think it's 9 jobs that are turning over in this offseason. And we're on pace for none of them to be black dudes. NFL, you got to figure that out. You cannot go 0 for 9 with all this other stuff going down. You morons, figure that out.
Yeah, look, never mind. I'm always of the I assume these guys want to be head coaches.
Yes.
But there is also the appeal. In college basketball, we see a lot mid-major guys aren't leaving anymore to go to a high level, because they're am I getting into a better – am I setting myself to lose and such? And
no, you're 100% right there.
Eric Bieniemy always get – and he may have – there may be issues where he is being, not on the front burner because he's black, but it's also offensive coordinator for Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce for maybe the next 5 or 10 years doesn't seem so bad as taking over awful Jacksonville Jaguars.
You're 100% right. And that's part of the complaint is that oftentimes when these black head coaches are hired, it's specifically an owner deciding, well, we're not going to try for 3 years. So let's check off the box that we got a black guy, get our high draft picks, then get him out, and then go get the next Bill Belichick guy, whatever.
Sure.
So yes, you're 100% right that if a lot of these jobs are disasters and don't seem like they're good for the ascension of black coach. So I'm with you on that, but just
the optics and there's probably a lot of truth to it too. Yeah, in the same front.
All right, rightly rated.
The best way to fix it immediately is for the NFL just to randomly select a currently employed white head coach and fire him. I don't know, maybe Matt Rule. Just get rid of him.
To do the right thing.
Yeah, just do the right thing.
The Panthers fans are willing to sacrifice and have their head coach fired just for the optics, making things look better. I don't really have a good sounder for Riley rated, so let's go with the harp sound that is built in here. That's not bad. It's time to decide if things are overrated, underrated, or properly rightly rated. This is rightly rated. First up, Candace Cameron Bure said that in some of her final texts with Bob Saget, they got into a tiff. We were going to have dinner, and we got into a little tiff, she said. His flight was delayed. We ended up not having dinner. But the next day he wrote me what would be a pages-long text. He was apologizing, saying he was cranky, just sorry. But then the headlines were all like, they tried to make it sound like Candace Cameron and Bob Saget had beef like right before he died, but it was just a little misunderstanding, all of which leads to asking the question, Full House the show, overrated, underrated, or rightly rated? Goodson?
I actually think it was underrated. There was a bunch of as it was a likable show, a bunch of different like in 90s shows were just good at like random cameos from other walks of life, right?
True.
Like athletes and such. You had the dynamic of the Beach Boys. Just I enjoyed it. I actually thought the show was underrated.
Trips to Disney was also once ABC was owned by
Right.
Disney. Every show was making that run down to Disney. Swain, Full House, overrated, underrated, or rightly rated?
I think it's rightly rated. I think it's rightly rated. I mean, it's a good show. I feel like we remember it in its proper light, and yeah, I'd go rightly rated. You can't. There's nothing bad you can say about Full House.
I'm splitting mine. I'm going slightly overrated on a show. Like, I don't know, you go watch them sometime. Maybe it's because you've seen them all and you just know where stuff's going. But underrated as a cultural touchstone. Like, I feel like we got to credit Full House with establishing TGIF, right? Like, I don't know what the first original lineup was, if it was Perfect Strangers or whatever, but I feel like Full House was the bedrock of TGIF as they transitioned from, Perfect Strangers to what's Boy Meets World in the later TJF years, and just it produced the Olsen twins, the Stamos and like I feel like it's culturally.
And Becky never would have committed federal crimes to get her to college if she wasn't on that show.
Candace Cameron Bure is now like between her and I'm blanking on on a Hallmark movie person. Who is our other Hallmark movie? Lacey Chabert.
Yes.
Basically, Candace Cameron Bure and Lacey Chabert are like Hallmark movie icons now.
Dennis Rodman's daughter, Trinity Rodman. Oh, should we hit the sounder again? I don't know. Right
Yeah.
there,
Give us the heart.
Number 2. Trinity Rodman has signed a 4-year deal with the Washington Spirit, reportedly worth more than $1.1 million. It would be a record for the NWSL. Includes $42,000 in base salary, housing, and bonuses. Whatever. It's a big contract. Dennis, should we go with is Trinity from The Matrix or Dennis Rodman rightly rated? Which one do we want to do? Let's go Dennis Rodman. Is Dennis Rodman overrated, underrated, or rightly rated? Swain?
I'm going to go overrated because if he doesn't have the fashion that he had, right, and still has, I don't think we talk about him nearly as much, but Dennis Rodman as a basketball player was absolutely a dude you needed on your basketball team. Is the way that he plays basketball or played basketball is relevant in every era of basketball, and I'm a huge fan of him as a player. But I think if he looks like David Robinson, I'm trying to think of the most like bland person I can think. If David Robinson looks like Dennis Rodman, I think we're talking about David Robinson as one of the greatest players in the history of basketball. It's just that sort of thing. Yeah, so I'm going to go overrated.
He's overrated. I think he's overrated.
I think underrated as a player. I'm a Swain, and he's one of those people that like he is not smart in the way that we typically define smart, whether it's taking a test or schooling or whatever. But obviously, the way he pursued his game, he showed a high level of intelligence. There's the famous clip in the Jordan documentary where he's talking about rebounding, bing, bing, bang, bing, that type of stuff. But also, to your point, Swain, he started his career as a super boring dude. Like, he was quiet, didn't want to talk to him. He played for the Pistons, and he was just normal. And he was smart enough to realize, you know what? I can make a lot more money by just being out there. And he did it. And he played basically the same game and then just went a little crazy and was himself. So I'm going Dennis Rodman, underrated. That version of rightly rated was slightly overrated. I'll do a better job of bringing some rightly rated in the future. It's not my best work. Let's give it a oh, we did have some solid comments on hanging with Mr. Cooper. Shout out, Daniel. All right, let's wrap this thing up and let's go. I was kind of holding out to see if the Weather Moose might show up and give us a weather report, but I did hear.
You want me to give it a go? It's,
go for it.
It's raining. It's raining right now. Good chance of rain.
But I did hear. And
Are you a cat boy or a dog boy, huh?
I heard the Moose is a dog boy because he is getting another dog, a second dog for the Moose family. He was trying to get Twitter to talk him out of it, but I think they're getting some sort of doodle. I don't know, mixed in there. Let's end on this note. Weekend predictions. Josh Goodson, you got a prediction for the weekend?
Yeah, NC State loses their 4th straight to Notre Dame and potentially sets up to where they won't win another game the rest of the year.
I forgot to let Brian Geisinger ask you this, but in the Slack thread before, Geisinger was accusing Josh Goodson of going full Stephen Ross and offering to pay Kevin Keats $100,000 for every loss. Goodson denies that claim, but I think it's good. Swain, a prediction for you?
Yeah, I'm going to go with there's going to be controversy at the NHL All-Star game.
Interesting. Why?
The controversy is going to be that the other teams complain about how hard the Metro team forechecks, and they're gonna just like the culture of the Metro team is going to be so much better than any other culture that they're going to complain about that because our guy Rod Brindamore is coaching in the All-Star game.
He's bringing it. Did I hear something?
It's incredible because I can't think of anything that he would care less about doing than coaching the All-Star game.
So he's probably going to do it 100%. Did I hear something about, was there a complaint from All-Star Weekend about the jerseys being like too skimpy and too small and not covering stuff? Or I may be getting reports from another weekend mixed up. Never mind. Maybe
I haven't heard that at all. No.
My prediction for Duke-UNC, this is a big one. Take it to the bank. Roy Williams is going to be there. 4, Ben Swain, Josh Goodson, Brian Geisinger, the Weather Moose, producer Mark Wood. Subscribe to the newsletter. The podcast drops in about an hour. Find it on Apple or Spotify. Sports Channel 8. We out.